Hey, we are back, everyone. Rip City Real Talk, and we're back with real games. How's that make you happy, man? Like you should be excited for this. Everybody should be excited for this. I'm excited. Anthony Blaylock, one of your hosts, and I know Craig Moshkow, the other host here, is also excited for real basketball games. We only have two of them, only two on this
Mhm.
episode. We're recording today. It's pretty early Monday, and we're going to have it up for you guys probably tomorrow
Yeah.
morning. So we're not going to have the Clippers game that's happening tonight. We're going to put that into next week so we have a good coverage of games to recap. But we do have two, and we have a motto on this show. Do we not?
It's go 500 or better every week.
Every week, 500 or better, and we're happy. We're happy campers.
Yep.
Uh, didn't think we were going to go 500 or better. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. When you lose to the Kings, team that didn't make the playoffs, then you see that you have the Suns upcoming, the Western Conference champions. I figured we were going to go 0-2, and it was going to be a pretty rough pod.
Sure.
But we didn't. We didn't. That didn't happen. Yeah. So 1-1 on the week, as we say, 500 or better. So we're going to start talking about the two games, kind of get into a couple of things we saw. It's really early in the year.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not going to look at it one way or the other. People are really stoked we beat the Suns, and that's great. But we also lost to the Kings. There's some things that we like, some things that we're like kind of met on, and we still want to see some improvement on. But all in all, not a bad way to start the season. I still think the starters' chemistry is going to help us get some wins, even while we go through some struggles in regards to the coaching and the schemes and guys kind of figuring what they want to do.
Yeah. And we'll get into it today. I think you're underselling it a little bit, though, because you were at that Kings game and you can give us
Yes.
a little perspective. What was the arena like that night on the opener?
So it was awesome. I mean, first off, great to be back. I would go to the openers. I try to go to the openers every year because they do
Sure.
the little show, and it's a good time. I was surprised that we didn't sell out. If they sold out in tickets, that's one thing, but I can tell you there's a lot of open seats.
That's
So
what I heard.
I was a bummer. That was kind of sad to see. I know that obviously the COVID restrictions and the mandates and the masks and all that stuff's going to deter some people. But I was hoping I would still see a full crowd. I mean, it's still getting to be live basketball for the first time, and I mean, I guess they had that little stint there in the last couple of weeks last year. But I mean, for a full season and the opener and all that good stuff, I was pretty stoked to see what we were going to do. And the crowd didn't show up fully, but that's all right. The people who were there, once again, Motor rocked it. I heard they rocked it against the Suns as well, and it was nice and loud. Not being there in person, I can't quite tell, but it was great to be back in that atmosphere. Noah and then whoever his wife is from The Bachelor, I guess, was there.
Wow.
That was a big thing. So saw them walking around. People were like, "Ooh, there's Noah from The Bachelor." Yeah, and they made a thing with them. And then some band called We Three. Apparently, they were on like America's Got Talent. They're a big deal now. They did the national anthem and did a halftime show. So, yeah, I mean, it's doing little things to get people back there. It was pretty cool to see.
Rock on.
Yeah, pretty stoked to have the games back.
Yeah, and watching the Kings game at home, it looked like the crowd was energized. The intro this year was super fun to watch. It was electric. Even at home, I had my heart racing a little bit, so I can't even imagine in person what that sounded like. And then we came out and absolutely did not beat the Kings at home in the opener, which is shocking. So what happened in that game?
Well, I think we talked about it a little bit last week when we had Dave on the show, but the number one thing I noticed in the game was the struggles wise was the rotations again. After that first couple passes, we left a lot of guys open on the 3-point line. And then when we started to try to fix that, we left a lot of guys open in the middle. So some things that we had to work on in that perspective. I wasn't sure we were going to be able to do it against the Suns, and we did. But right off the bat, I mean, Buddy Hield, we know, is going to be able to shoot the ball, and he's going to get threes. That's what he did. We know that Fox is one of the best guards when it comes to speed. He's very fast. He's able to attack and makes fast breaks really difficult to defend.
Yeah.
So those kind of things combined, you can't really stop both of them. I would hope that you can stop one of those things and make it tough on the other one, but we didn't really stop either one. Barnes, Harrison Barnes, a guy that we've talked about as a potential trade target for a couple of years just because of his contract. And he's a pretty good small forward. He's a scoring forward. He does his job. He's done his job for many years, and he's got a good career in the league. Well, he had a career high 8 3-pointers on 36 points. I swear every time he got the ball, he was wide open. The ball would go around the second or third pass. It was getting to him, and guys just didn't know what to do. They were scrambling once that ball got past CJ, Dame, and Nurk over and over and over. Way too many threes were given up. Just absolutely too many threes.
Sure.
And on the flip side of that, you can deal with that. Like you can give up threes. I mean, you hope that the guy's not going to go 8 of 9 from the 3-point line. I mean, that's ridiculous. And they shot really well overall. I mean, I'm pretty sure what they shoot 41%. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they were on fire anyway. But on top of that, then I look at
41%.
Holmes and Fox just devoured us in the middle. So you don't want to give up both those things. You don't want to be giving up these rotation threes, like we have historically. That didn't change. You want to at least be able to pressure the middle of the court a little bit more, and that's where I saw us kind of struggle. I mean, I think Holmes ended up with, I don't know, 15 points. I'd have to see the actual box score, and I think Fox got 20. And both of them were just involved in going to the rim and attacking. So bummer to see that. Bummer to see the threes going up. Both things were flying on all cylinders for a team that really had no business being in that with us. But that wasn't the number one thing that I noticed for the reason we lost that game. Did you notice anything before I get into it?
I mean, to me, the biggest thing was they outshot us from three. And it's the formula for the Blazers has, as much as we want to say it's changed, it has not. It is outshoot your opponent from three, play better perimeter defense, disrupt more shots. The inside scoring doesn't bother me still. I still think there's kinks to work out within the defensive scheme. But when you look at shooting, so Dame shot 0 of 8 from three. That was
9.
0 of 9. Oh my gosh, I thought it was only 0 of 8.
9.
So he had multiple chances to tie the game at the end there. It was a really, really close finish, but it wasn't that close of a game. I don't think we ever had a lead, especially after the first 2 minutes of the game. So, I mean, unless you have something drastically different, to me, the perimeter defense is still a problem or still an issue, and the other team outshot us from three. And that's going to be the key to this season, I think.
Yeah, we did only shoot 35, which is relatively low for the Blazers. Considering last year we were around 42, 43 a game. So you didn't get a lot of looks, which is fine. I think, again, you're going to slow the game down. You're not going to get as many of them. I did like the things that we expected to see on offense. I did like some of that. I saw CJ be involved more, cutting to the rim. That was a big thing. I mean, yeah, he had the complete mess up there at the end of the game where when you watched it live, you could tell that he thought he had gotten contact, and I think he tried to throw it up to make it look like he got a shot, and they didn't call that whistle, and that was pretty much the game. But he shot 34 points. I mean, he basically carried the offense. Nobody else really did much to be proud of. Dane got, I think, ended up with 20, but it wasn't pretty, as we already established with that.
And Nurkic with a big double-double, but it was kind of empty calories a little bit. I mean, it didn't really feel like he was an impact. I thought Nurk had a lot of little flip shots and sort of like rushed shots again at the rim. We complained about that last year. It's like, dude, take your time, set your feet, jam on people. Like it's really something we've been on him about for 3 years now. That inconsistency around the rim is just a killer for this offense.
Yeah, he didn't. He had some great looks, and he hit his only 3 that he took in the game, and that was all fine and dandy. But I agree with you 100%. You see him when they make that pass to him down low, he rushes it. I think he's either thinks he's going to draw a foul, or he's just not letting the defense get set up so he doesn't have to post.
Yeah,
but he does rush his shots. He still ended up doing fine. I mean, he was okay offensively, but that's one thing that he's going to have to continue to work on. But his passing looked good. The movement using him at the top of the key looked better than I anticipated. They didn't keep him up there very long, which I think was what was big for me. A lot more pick and roll and a lot more passing, which was great.
Yeah.
But it was just a weird game. I mean, they beat us 20-2 in fast break points. That's a big deal, especially when you have De'Aaron Fox as their point guard. You can't give up a lot of fast break points. You got to get back because the dude can absolutely fly.
Yep.
He can fly. And he's part of the reason they got so many open threes is because he would attack, and that ball got flipped around so quick before guys could recover, and there you go.
So I think one of the annoying things was during and after that game, Blazers Twitter is kind of like blaming Chauncey in the scheme. I don't think it's really his fault yet. I mean, I think that those rotations are things we missed on last year, and we could have lost that game to the Kings last year, regardless of whether Stotts was the coach or not. I don't think that the coaching mattered in that game. I think we were a little tired defensively. We didn't rotate well, and we didn't shoot that well, honestly. And it's a jump shooting league. When you watch like the highlight videos of these games, so many of these shots are coming from three, and whether or not you outshoot your opponent is really what matters. Now, could the Blazers have played better defense? Yes. Could Nurkic have been more consistent offensively and Dame made a few more threes? We probably win that game. So I'm not going to sit here and take a victory lap on the whole Stotts firing thing as if that's Chauncey cost us. I thought that was really weird, man.
Yeah, I agree. It came down to shooting. It came down to the 3-point game. Dame's not going to go 0 of 9. That's not going to happen. I mean, not not going to be a trend that we're going to have to worry about.
Yeah.
There are still a lot of positives. I mean, yeah, the fast break
Tons.
points were an issue. Raquan Holmes getting just buckets in the middle was an issue.
He's good.
I did like Norman Powell. He drew 8 free throws. He made 7 of them, which is crazy. So he got to the rim a lot. We talked about it earlier that we wanted to see him draw more fouls because that's what he did late in the season for us. He was probably the only guard that we really had outside of Dame, but Dame's always going to do that. But that could attack the rim. We talked about it. CJ's not much of a rim attacker. So seeing Powell get in there and get the free throws and hit a good chunk of them is a good sign. It's a sign that we should be looking forward to seeing a lot of. I think there's going to be a lot of chances for him to cut because he's going to sit out in that three-point line. And then when the ball starts moving, he's one of the first guys I think you're going to see start hitting the rim.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was still good to see. We still saw a lot of ball movement that caused a lot of turnovers. There's a lot of guys that's not expecting the ball. I think that's just in their head. And it's something that they're going to have to work on. But it was good to see them get the ball moving a little bit more. And it's a fluke, man. It sucks losing to the Kings. But like you said, you hit 1 or 2 more threes and you win that game. And your Barnes just doesn't scorch the earth.
Yeah.
Then you win that game. So,
well, and in addition to that, so you can see flashes where the system makes sense and guys are flying around and there's possessions. I mean, Larry Nance looked a little lost. Cody Zeller didn't really play that well as far as statistically didn't do anything for you. I mean, he looked good in flashes. Anthony Simons looked okay. I mean, his role is pretty defined now, but that game was the first game of the season. I mean, we can't really sit here and just complain about a loss when it's the first game of the season and we were within 3 points of winning that game. Like, it's fine. It's gonna settle out.
Yep, it was a little rough because our schedule in the beginning of the year is going to be a little tough anyway, but especially with the new system and coach. So that sucked. But the next game, the Suns, the Western Conference champions, we thrashed them. I mean, just thrashed them.
Quarter thrashing too.
I think Booker's the only one that got above 20 points. Paul wasn't on. Ayton didn't do anything, and that's a testament to some of the defense that we had down low in this particular game. Sure. And Mikal Bridges did great, but I mean, just absolutely just came in there and rocked their world. Yeah, like CJ had 28, so he led scoring again. So all good things there. A lot of ball movement, and this time it seemed to work out more. We actually got up 53-point attempts. Switch over to my note.
Yeah, look at this. So it says here we shot 21 of 50 from the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we just destroyed them on both ends of the floor and looked great too.
I think the biggest thing I noticed, and the one thing that I will knock Stotts for, and we're not the biggest anti-Stotts guys. We like Stotts. We had no problem with Stotts. But one thing that I noticed with those systems is they did tend to get a bit too conservative.
Sure.
This game, we just never let up. And that's the kind of attitude that I think we're going to have because we do tend to let teams get back in the games that we have historically, especially late. And to see us just come out and get 53 attempts and push the pace, and the ball was moving around, that just completely took a really good defensive team out of their element. And that was amazing to see that we just didn't stop. I mean, 134 against the defending Western Conference champs is crazy. I mean, that's absolutely bonkers on 42% from 3. That's what you have to do. We got 21-6 fast break points. So again, just pushing and pushing and pushing. The last game we just talked was 20-2 that you lost to the Kings and we lost the game. So coming out and doing 21-6 in this particular game got us a lot of those threes. It got a lot of the transition points. So that was awesome.
I loved it. And the thing, so I watched the recap because I wasn't able to watch the game live. So I watched a lot of stuff. I read a lot of stuff, and then I watched the highlight videos. And so what you saw was really good rotations defensively from both the bigs and the help defenders. So what happens is Nurk is coming up and helping defend on the guard, and then the help defenders moving to his man. I think you saw Larry Nance, Robert Covington. I saw Zeller. They all of them are really important defensively for this team, and all of them played well in this game. Dame and CJ were giving great effort, and CJ just went ballistic like he can. And when CJ is going to drop 28 and Dame is going to give you 8-9 assists per game, which he's done so far through 2 games, his assist numbers are up. I think you called that this year as something that is kind of a key for Dame. Everybody did their job, and they did it very well and very effectively.
Yeah. And another thing that I noticed, and it's been a trend the first 2 games already, is we're seeing what the bench is going to start to look like. So Simons and Little both. Simon's got 18 points up. Little got 11 points up. So both of them, once again, getting involved. They got involved in the Kings game. They led the bench in scoring and attempts and all that fun stuff. I think Nasir has been the biggest surprise. We wanted to see Amp. We knew that Amp can do this. This is the Amp that we wanted to see, to come in and get a defined role and really be that scorer that we need him to be. 18 points, that might be a little high for most nights, but if you can get to that 13 to 15 range as the backup guard,
yeah,
that's money. I mean, you're going to come in and that's going to be part of that pushing the pace and keeping the foot down on the gas pedal is going to be that bench being able to come into the game and not let up the lead and whatnot. So kudos to both those guys. I mean, I'm hoping that we see that all year. I know that Little's made a bunch of impact plays already in the beginning of the year. And the scoring, I mean, against the Kings, I saw him do a little shimmy. He went up and did it. He's hitting threes. He's looking really good. What did you notice from them?
I loved both of them. So I actually, it's kind of weird, but I wrote in my notes, I said Anthony's length on defense has actually been very helpful. He's helped kind of kick over and help like block shots. He hasn't, maybe he's not loading up the statistics, but if you watch him, he's active defensively. Nasir Little has been impactful on both ends of the floor. I mean, we talked about growth with Dave last week, and we thought, okay, this team doesn't really have a whole lot of room for growth. Those two guys have taken what seems to be big leaps through 2 games now against the Clippers tonight and against some of the tougher opponents as we continue to go. I want to see those minutes stay consistent, and I want both of them to stay healthy because that's been a big deterrent for Nasir especially. But they've been making impactful plays on both ends of the floor, and I'd be really impressed with Anthony if he could average 14 or 15 per game. That'd be amazing for him.
Yep, that's perfect, and that's really what we need. To be honest with you,
yes.
And I love seeing the team continue to come out and shoot well because Dame shot 2 of 7. Again, not a great shooting night from Dame, but to still come out and get 50 attempts and hit 41% of them with Dame shooting that poorly.
Yeah,
it's going to make us really tough to deal with throughout the year. And if these guys on the bench can continue to come in, if Nance can come in and give you the little things that Nance is already starting to get better. I mean, every game he's going to get better as he gets into a new system, as long as he can stay healthy.
He was running guys off for sure, though. Like he was doing things defensively that you don't see Portland do very often because we don't have the elite athleticism to do that. I mean, I think like we said, Derek Jones Jr. was kind of miscast, but when you talk about Nasir Little and Larry Nance and Robert Covington, the 3 of them have the athleticism to run guys off the line that we haven't had, I don't think, in a while. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't care what anybody says. Derek Jones had an effort issue. He was not doing well. Granted, they tried to use him on guards and they use him in weird ways. I'll give him that, but I just saw him take too many plays off for a guy with his kind of athleticism. And Nance, at least yesterday or Saturday. I just didn't see that. I didn't see that lack of effort. I saw him out there attempting to do a bunch of different things, making passes. He looks like he's going to be heavily involved. And as early as is in the season to see that, it's still really helpful for me to see him come out and play the way he's been playing.
Yeah. And what did you think of some of the Cody Zeller minutes? What do you think of? I think McLemore got a couple minutes in this last game, but he's not going to play much. It looks like he's out of the rotation.
I think the first game is more indicative of what we're going to see in regards of minutes. I don't think Dennis Smith and McLemore are really going to get a lot of run. Sure. I think Dame and CG are your main guards, and then Anthony's going to come in and get some run to give them a rest, and then you're going to see a lot of these guys playing together again.
Gotcha.
Zeller doing what I figured he would do. I mean, as long as Nurk can stay out of foul trouble and stay healthy, he's probably going to get, you called it, about 30 minutes a game, 25 to 30. And that's going to just limit what you're going to see from Zeller. And I think they're going to do a lot of Nance in that role and kind of flip between the two. But when Zeller's been out there, he's been great. I mean, he's doing hustle stuff. I guess I can't call him great statistically, but he's doing hustle stuff. I mean, in the Kings game, I know he had a couple great plays where he went up and got a block, and he just involved in some offensive rebounds and doing a lot of the cool stuff that you want to see your backup center do. Much more hard-nosed than we've seen with Cantor. Cantor was a little soft. He was great with what he did, but he wasn't giving you that kind of, I don't know. I mean, I can't say he didn't give effort because that's not fair to Cantor, but you didn't see him make the type of plays that I've seen Zeller already kind of come in and do, just that hard-nosed, blue-collar.
And you don't have to change your scheme to bring Zeller in. Right. There's times where he can kind of mimic what Nurkic does, whereas Cantor just couldn't. They were just two totally different vehicles driving in different lanes. And so when Zeller's in, there was a couple times where I checked Blazers Twitter, and some people were saying that Zeller should maybe get more minutes. I think they should cool it with that. Nurkic should play about 28 to 29. Zeller should fit in his role. I do want to see what the pairings look like. I think the more you watch these guys play, the pairings are going to be important. So Nance is going to pair up more with Zeller, and the two of them are going to run that front court more.
Yeah.
But it has been very effective. That Suns game was a very good litmus test for we lost that opener, and at any point, people are writing the Blazers off. They're basically saying, like, Dame's going to demand out. We're going to be terrible this year. They come out swinging, and they beat the Western Conference champs from last year. It's pretty impressive. That was a good victory. Now tonight is another one, and then we play the Grizzlies on Wednesday. Grit and grind is always going to be tough. So I want to see how they respond now. Are they going to rest and come back out flat, or are they going to come out swinging again?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the Suns are 1-2 now, so they're not looking super hot considering that they pretty much brought everybody back. But either way, it's good for us to come in there. And that's a big win and a big victory just for your morals. I mean, you come in and beating the team that just crushed you last year. They crushed everybody. They looked really good. Chris Paul brought him back, and the Suns were awesome. So it's good to come out and get that win. It's Chauncey Billups' first win on his brand new career as a head coach. I know that they went and got the game ball for him and had a little thing, and that was great. And that's the kind of stuff that you're going to want to see more of, is these little moral victories and these types of teams and getting these wins. So yeah, I mean, I don't have too much more in regards to the two games.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the only other thing I'd point out is with the new scheme and the new system, when we play against good bigs, like Ayton is a good big, they're going to beat us at points in the paint. And that was something that happened. But honestly, I'm okay with losing points in the paint as long as we outshoot the other team. So when I watched the highlights, I watched a lot of like Chris Paul would bring Nurkic out on the pick and roll, and then Ayton would roll and Chris Paul would hit him, or Booker would hit him on the pass and Ayton would have a dunk. That's going to kind of get figured out throughout the year, but I don't think points in the paint are really a key for this Blazer team. So it's something that I would point out, but not be worried about.
Yeah, points in the paint are going to be a problem all year because you're going to draw Nurk away from the rim. It's just going to be how it is. I mean, you're going to have to rely on the help coverage a lot. That's what this scheme is going to be. Is guys like Powell and Roca being able to recover from that and making them have to kick back out, and then the ball moves around. Didn't work against the Kings. They were doing whatever they wanted to us offensively. It was kind of a feeding frenzy. But
something I'm hoping Chauncey brings that Stotts didn't last year, and something that I want to see is I want to see game by game and even halftime adjustments. I want to see adjustments. Stotts did a decent job of that, like in 2016 and 2015 in some of those playoffs, but he didn't bring that a lot the last 2 years, and I think that contributed to a lot of the stagnant offense and defense that you saw. So I would like to continue to see that out of Chauncey and see him make those rotations and those changes as the game goes on.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think that we're going to see a lot of positivity. I mean, I've already seen it in the guard play. I mean, Dame has been slashing and attacking a lot more, and you see CJ all of a sudden coming out here and being the more effective scorer. It's like they flip places. I mean, CJ goes for 34 and 28. Dame's got 19 or 20 and then 19. So it's kind of funny how the roles have reversed a little bit on some of their usage.
Yeah. I think in the past, we've even said this, the best version of this team is not Dame going off for 50. I mean, we saw it in the playoffs, right? In the playoffs, Dame had to play hero ball. That's not the best version of this team. The best version of this team is Dame getting like 8-9 assists, 18 to 20 points, and CJ getting 30. That's the best, because then Dame doesn't have to exert all his effort all the time, like in that Kings game where he's trying to win the game from 40 feet at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I 100% agree with you. I think the two guards, I mean, they're going to have to still, I don't want to say they don't have to play hero ball, because they're still going to be heavily involved. But I think with the other guys getting the ball moving around, you've seen the bench already coming up and being able to maintain these leads and really be a big factor in getting this caught back up in some of these games.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big key all year, and I'm happy to see that CJ is back off and up and running. I mean, we saw this last year. He averaged, 26 a game before he got hurt. So we saw the same thing. I mean, he came out and was starting off hot. It's a matter of whether or not he can maintain the level of efficiency in scoring, and I think with this system, it's going to allow him to do that. I don't think he'll be going off for 30 a game, but I think 25 is probably going to be a fair spot for CJ with the way that we're seeing him attack a little bit more. Again, he's not going to be much of a free throw jar, but I'm still seeing him attack a lot more than I have years past. He's not just doing the dribble, step back, shoot, or floater thing that he's been known for. So all these good things.
I loved it, man. I feel good about it. What else you got?
So a couple of small things. But before we get into the couple small things, we'll go ahead and knock out the favorite segment of all of our loyal listeners. I know that you guys love to hear what all the old-time Blazers are doing, where they're at now. Some of you youngsters probably don't even know half the names we threw out in this list. Most of you hopefully do. This one he was a brief Blazer. So without further ado, the Blazing New Trails X-Player of the Week, Nick Stauskas.
Whoa, Nicholas, N-I-K.
Nicholas Stauskas.
So I'll never forget, it was 2 years ago in the opener when he just went absolutely ballistic for like 20 points. And I thought, this guy's the truth. Like, for real, he's just going to be like the next Layman. And he was not the next Layman. I was wrong, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, he so it was what 2018 is when he played with us. So
Yeah,
you're 1
2 or
year off.
3 years.
That's okay.
3
But
years ago.
2018, he played with us, and you're absolutely right. Came in and just lit it up against the Lakers of all teams. This guy was going to be our hero. It was like, oh
Right.
my god, Jake Layman, who? Patty Connaughton, who? We don't need that. Like what? We got a new sharpshooter over here. Um, didn't live up to that after that. He pretty much didn't do anything after that. But he was instrumental that year in us getting to the Western Conference Finals. What? Anthony, you're crazy. That doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, I make your case, man.
Make my case. So he was involved in the trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers that brought us Rodney Hood. So he was involved in the trade that brought us Rodney Hood. You laugh.
No, it's
Rodney
true.
that year had one heck of a playoffs, including the quadruple overtime game where he came in and got the game-winning threes. He skipped onto the court, and we were so stoked to have Rodney Hood. Yeah, that was. I mean, then poor Rodney and the injury, and now he's kind of floating around. I think he's in Toronto still. I'd have to look up and see where he's at.
He needs to get healthy. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I forgot all about that trade. I forgot about the trade that sent Stauskas to Cleveland for Rodney.
Yeah. There's a little bit more involved, I think, but I don't remember what it was. I didn't take the time to look it up right now. But
good move.
Yeah, so Nick Stauskas, his news with him. I guess I should get to the news, right?
Sure.
So he signed a 10-day exhibition contract with the Nuggets. They waived him like the same day or really quick afterwards, and they plan on signing him to their brand new G League team. I think it's like Grants Pass or something, or Grants Ford. I don't know. But they have a new G League team, and he's going to play for them. So Good for him. He'll be around. That's what he's doing these days. If you guys were wondering, I wonder what happened to that one guy that came in and just destroyed the Lakers in opening day 3 years ago.
He probably still has a dope haircut too.
He did. He did have a dope haircut, didn't he? And he's like, he was the sharpshooter that we wanted. He was going to come in and save us. Luke Babbitt. But nope. It wasn't. Let's see what Luke Babbitt's doing these days. He'll be the next Blaze New Trail. So I got that. That's it. That's my favorite segment. And then as far as small things, we don't have a lot this week.
Yep.
Don't know if you got to catch any of the ESPN interview with, I think it was The Jump. I want to say it was. I could be wrong. But Damian Lillard appeared on there again and kind of gave another little testament to Portland. Basically came out again and said, I don't care if times are going to get tough. I don't care if we run into some issues or what have you. I'm staying in Portland. I'm staying in Portland. I'm not going to look for an excuse to leave. I don't, people are waiting for me to try to leave when things get bad, if we struggle and go through these motions. Yeah. We've heard that before. But the one thing I really kind of thought was cool is that he basically said, based on his relationship with Chauncey, is that he wouldn't do that to Chauncey, that he wants to be here to help him succeed, to be, a successful African-American basketball coach, that he wants to be there for that and help him be successful. And I thought that was cool. I mean, I thought it was interesting to see, the relationship between him and the coach already. We know that they've talked previously before Chauncey got hired. It's probably one of the reasons Chauncey even got the position to be hired. But still, I like that he's kind of come in and said, I want to team up with him and I want to do things here in Portland versus leaving again. I mean, he's been saying it all year, but that was kind of the first interview I've really heard him go into some specifics.
Sure.
I think that was nice to hear.
Yeah, I think it's great to hear. It's refreshing. I mean, he liked Chauncey. He was glad they brought him in for a multitude of reasons from his perspective, just being a former point guard. But I think a lot of it is, I think this summer he just wanted to put the feet to the fire on this organization to make sure they were giving him the support he needed. And I'm glad he recommitted to Portland because let's be honest, this team should be a top 5-6 seed in the West again. There's no reason to think that they can't compete for a championship with how bad the Lakers have looked so far. We just
Suns are 1 and 2.
Like, I mean, I get it. I understand it's early, and I understand that the Blazers, a lot of our fans are kind of spurned at the fact that we keep losing in the first round. But you have no idea what the ceiling is until you see the Warriors in the playoffs and you beat them, right? And you see the Lakers in the playoffs and you beat them. So who knows? Nobody counted on us in 2019. We made the Western Conference Finals. It's whatever. But you've got to give this team a chance before you write them off.
Yeah. And again, it's only been 2 games. One game that didn't look good, and we looked pretty bad, and we looked rough. You look like a team that was still trying to figure stuff out, and you lose to a team you probably shouldn't have lost to at home. And then the flip side of that is you come out and you beat the Suns. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're back. Oh, look at all these different things we're doing. This is it. We're moving. We're doing all the stuff that Stotts didn't do. We're saved. And it's like, I get it. And I'm excited. Trust me, I'm excited for the team. I just think we need to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, right the way.
We're about to go again into a pretty rough stretch of games here. And let's talk about that real fast. Just a
Yeah,
quick
let me
what's
pull it up
coming
real
up.
quick.
So the Clippers tonight, and I think we play the Clippers again pretty soon. You have the games, and then you're going to pull them up.
I got them right here. Hold up. Let me just share the screen.
I know we got Memphis, and I think we play the Clippers twice in a pretty quick span here.
Yeah, so we play. There we go. Oh, today we play the Clippers, and then we play the Grizzlies on Wednesday, and then Clippers again, and then the
Friday.
Hornets. So that's a tough stretch. So by the time we recap, we will have 2 Clippers and 1 Grizzlies game that we'll recap probably next Saturday or Sunday and post.
Yeah, we'll get back to the Sunday thing, get these stuff out Monday mornings again like we planned. We were busy most of the day yesterday, but
there isn't an easy game until November. Like honestly, there's not. And even then,
the Cavs, and there's a couple upcoming, but this will be fun. So the Clippers twice in 1 week, and this is important because this is Billups' old team. So, as a head coach, if you're a first-time head coach, you're typically an assistant somewhere. Mm-hmm. He wasn't an assistant for very long, obviously just the 1 year with the Clippers, but it's going to be pretty big for him to try to get at least one of these. I think that'll be great for him to be able to take his old team down. He kind of knows what they're going to run. He obviously knows what Lou Williams likes to do, or not Lou Williams. Good grief, why did I say that? Because he played there for so long. Ty Lue, yeah. He knows some of the stuff that they're going to try to do. They don't have Kawhi, so they're it's going to be somewhat of a new look team. They got Eric Bledsoe's been coming in and playing really good for them. He's been scoring good at least, and obviously Paul George is still there, and Zubac is always kind of a thing. It's one of the reasons we brought some of the coaches in that we did is to help Nurk try to get to some of the things that they like to do with Zubac. So be a lot of movement. They like to shoot. The threes, they're just one of those teams they're going to continue to try to do that. And Paul George always seems to give us fits. He's a superstar in this league, sure, but us especially, I feel like he has it out for Dame after the whole goodbye wave and the Oklahoma City downfall. So that's what we have upcoming. I want you to tell the people how they get to watch that. Fubo. I haven't watched the game on the Fubo yet.
So I live in Eastern Oregon, so I actually don't have I could sign up for DirecTV or whatever, but my only streaming option to watch the Blazers is Fubo. So I downloaded it and I like it so far. It's really user-friendly. We've been able to watch the games. It doesn't feel that different for the games being en route than it did on NBC Sports Northwest. But I like it so far. Fubo TV, download it. It is $64.99 plus with a local regional service fee. You have like $7 extra a month to get all the Blazer channels. But so far, I like it. It's been user friendly, and I've used it to watch football on Sundays too, which is kind of nice because I didn't have a streaming service for that as well. As soon as the games hit TNT, I'll have to figure out another solution for those games. But I'm going to get almost every single game this year, so that's good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So is it significantly different than Northwest? I know they don't have they don't have Blazers Outsiders anymore. I'm pretty sure it's gone.
I never really. I love Danny Morang and Joe Simons, but I never really watched Blazers Outsiders much. The only thing that really is different. Calabro's there, and he's amazing. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Lamar is amazing. But no, it doesn't feel any different to me. Instead of just going to YouTube TV, I go to Fubo. That's the only difference. So
and I was doing the whole Hulu had live sports thing. So cool. Well, I was kind of curious about that, so I'm glad you got to inform everybody. As far as any other news goes, that's about it. It's all I have is a quick recap this week. We'll have 3 games, and I think next week will be a really good episode. I think we'll have a lot more. We'll have a lot more to dissect. 2 games is kind of rough when you're starting a new system.
Just
at that point, we'll have more to break down, I think.
So for the people, go ahead and give us your win-loss over the next 3 games. So Clippers, Grizzlies, Clippers. What do you have?
Oof, I'm going 2-1. I think you split the Clippers because it's Billups' old team, and I think we're still better than Memphis. I want to think we're better than Memphis. Jaw's always tough, and they're fully healthy right now. But I
think 2-1. I'm not going to say 3-0 for sure, but I don't think these Clippers are vastly more talented than we are. So 2-1.
Not with Kawhi not being there, and
500 or better, baby, every week. 500.
Yeah, but you can't ask me that and then be like, I'm not going to say 500 or better. That's the motto of the show.
0-3 just to set the bar low. You know what I mean? 0-3. I know you're really good.
No, so we're looking forward to that. Obviously, guys, subscribe, like. You can follow us on. We're really only on Instagram, and we're pretty active on Twitter. Most of you know that already. But yeah, as we're creeping very slowly. We appreciate everybody who's subbed already. If you guys follow along, keep subbing. We hit that 500. We give tickets to whatever game comes out after that. I'm just going to leave it at that. We do have the ticket giveaway coming up in November to look forward to. I'm figuring out a fun little way of doing that for the Celtics game. So if you're into that, keep following, share with your friends. They're the ones who make us grow. If we grow, you get free stuff, and they get to see all of our amazing knowledge that we have. All of
for
it. So much of
free.
it. For free.
For
Yeah,
only
for
the
free.
cost of hitting the sub button. That's it. That's all it costs.
That is it. But that's all I got for you, man. I don't have anything
Good.
else this week. We'll have a lot more to break down next week, but a good, good opening week. 1-1, beat the Suns. Happy with it. Basketball is back. Real games are back. We are back to doing our weekly recap. So I think people appreciate that. And we're looking forward to talking about it with everybody.
And just like that, thanks for the sub, like, and we out. Peace.